Yes. Okay, so we gotta go through our Y chart first, right? So we are in the kiva, correct? Spanel, make sure you scooch over so everyone's got space. Thank you. Nope, this way. Yeah, just spanel. He's the only one who needed to move. Right, so in the kiva, our head's up at all times, right? You're doing an excellent job right now. Hands and feet to yourself. That's super important. You don't want anybody's feet in your face, right?
Ew.
Right? Attention is focused on the speaker, whether that's me or someone else. And you're not playing with your shoes, your skin, your hair, whatever else. Bracelets, right? Hands, feet. We're sitting quietly. Do it well. All right, it sounds like one voice at a time. So that's me right now. Level 0 except for the speaker. And then you're listening, sharing, and enjoying. And that's what it feels like. Are we excited? Are we ready to go? All right. No, it's just of me. Right? I gotta send it to my professors. Here we go. So we're gonna read a book today, right? But it's gonna be time for instruction. So you're doing this super well. So when we get to instruction, it looks like your head's still up. All 4 chair legs on the floor, but right now we're sitting. Handling materials carefully. So that book should stay behind your back until I say bring it out, okay? Excellent. It still sounds like one voice at a time. It's a level 0 unless I ask you to talk to somebody, right? And even then it's just a partner. And it feels like we're ready to learn and we're determined to do our best. Everybody ready to go? Yes. Oh, perfect. Thank you for the affirmative. All right. So how many of you can read books by yourself and you're super excited that you can? Excellent. I love to read. It's one of my favorites. This book, Corduroy, is my absolute favorite.
I've been reading that.
Raise your hand if you've read it before.
I read the other version.
Excellent. So I'm going to read it to you. We're going to carefully look at the pictures. We're going to take this book apart a little bit. Not literally rip it apart, but we're going to look at what makes this book. Okay? Here we go. Corduroy. So excited. All right. Corduroy is a bear who once lived in the toy department of a big store. Day after day he waited with all the other animals and dolls for somebody to come along and take him home. Everyone got it? The store was always filled with shoppers buying all sorts of things, but no one ever seemed to want a small bear in green overalls. Then one morning a little girl stopped and looked straight into Corduroy's bright eyes. "Oh, Mommy," she said, "look! There's the bear I've always wanted." "Not today, dear," her mother sighed. "I've spent too much already. Besides, he doesn't look new. He's lost the button to one of his shoulder straps." You guys see that? Right? All sitting around.
I feel sad for Corduroy.
Oh, it's all right. We'll see what happens to him, right? Corduroy watched them sadly as they walked away. "I didn't know I'd lost a button," he said to himself. "Tonight I'll go see if I can find it."
You can't even walk.
Shh, keep that in your brain. All right. So it says, late that evening, when all the shoppers had gone and the doors were shut and locked, Corduroy climbed carefully down from his shelf and began searching everywhere on the floor for his lost button. Looking high, looking low. Can y'all see it? We're looking for it. Suddenly, he felt the floor moving under him, quite by accident. He had stepped onto the escalator, and up he went. Could this be a mountain, he wondered? I think I've always wanted to climb a mountain. What? He stepped off the escalator, and it reached the next floor. And there before his eyes was the most amazing sight. Tables and chairs and lamps and sofas and rows of beds. "This must be a palace," Corduroy said. "I guess I've always wanted to live in a palace." Looks kind of nice. He wandered around, admiring the furniture. "This must be a bed," he said. "I've always wanted to sleep in a bed." And up he crawled onto a large, thick mattress. All at once, he saw something small and round. What? There's my button!" He cried, and he tried to pick it up, but like all the other... Oh, I missed a spot. Sorry, guys. And he tried to pick it up, but like all the other buttons on the mattress, it was tied down tight. Is it gonna come off? He yanked And he pulled with both paws until pop! Off came the button. Oh, jeez. And off the mattress Corduroy toppled. Bang into a tall floor lamp. Over it fell with a crash. That's right.
The light fell down.
It did, right? Corduroy pulled so hard it fell straight over. I know. Corduroy didn't know it, but there was someone else awake in the store. The night watchman was going on his rounds on the floor above. When he heard the crash, he came down, dashing down the escalator. "Now who in the world did that?" he exclaimed. "Somebody must be hiding under here." Got the flashlight out for you guys?
How do you say a man?
Well, it's a night watchman, right? Gotta make my voice a little lower. He flashed his light under and over sofas and beds until he came to the biggest bed of all, and there he saw 2 fuzzy brown ears sticking up from under the covers. "Hello," he said. "How did you get upstairs?" Funny brown ears.
Don't tell her.
Funny idea is stupid.
The watchman tucked Corduroy under his arm and carried him down the escalator and set him on a shelf in the toy department with the other animals and dolls. Now, back to where he started. Corduroy was just waking up when the first customers came into the store in the morning, and there, looking for him with a wide, warm smile, was that same little girl he'd seen only the day before. "I'm Lisa," she said, "and you're going to be my very own bear. Last night I counted what I saved in my piggy bank, and my mother said I could bring you home." "Shall I put him in a box for you?" the sales lady asked. "Oh, no, thank you," Lisa answered, and she carried Corduroy home in her arms.
That is so nice.
I know. She ran all the way up 4 flights of stairs into her family's apartment, straight to her own room. She was super excited.
You're super.
Corduroy blinked. There was a chair and a chest of drawers, and alongside a girl-sized bed stood a little bed that was just the right size for him. The room was small, nothing like that enormous palace in the department store. "This must be home," he said. "I know I've always wanted a home." Lisa sat down with Corduroy on her lap and began to sew a button on his overalls. "I like you the way you are," she said, "but you'll be more comfortable with your shoulder strap fastened." "You must be a friend," said Corduroy. "I've always wanted a friend." "Me too," said Lisa, and gave him a big hug.
At 32 pages.
32 pages. That's
like
Corduroy. So good, isn't it? You can give it a little clap if you want. I love Corduroy.
We know who the characters are
That's right. It's Corduroy
and his friend.
what's his friend's name? Do you remember the girl's name?
No.
Does anybody remember the girl's name?
No.
Yes, ma'am. So close. It's Lisa, right?
Lisa.
I was going to say that.
Lisa. So we've got
No,
Corduroy and
Lisa.
Lisa. Now I want you to look at this book real
You
carefully,
were
right?
about to say Mona.
Messiah, ready?
Lisa.
Okay. So I said we were going to take this book apart, not physically, but we're going to look at it real carefully. So on the front, right, did somebody draw this picture, or did they take a picture with a camera? Raise your hand if you think you can tell me. Yes, Mace.
They drawed it.
They drew this picture, right? Now inside, what did they do? Did they draw it, or did they take those pictures? Yes, Messiah.
They draw the whole book.
Yeah, they drew the whole book, right? Because this book, right, like Miss McCord told you, has an author and an illustrator, right? At some point, someone had to draw those pictures. Okay. Now, do you think Corduroy, and Messiah pointed this out earlier, and I told him to keep that little nugget in his brain. Do you think Corduroy, the teddy bear, could actually move and walk to different parts of the store?
No.
Yes.
Raise your hand if you think yes. That
He's
teddy bears
real.
can get up and move.
He's real.
Raise
No,
your hand if
he's
you think
not.
teddy bears can't get up and move by themselves. Okay, I'm going to be with this camp. Teddy bears can't get up and move by themselves, right? If you've got a teddy bear at home, I do, we pick it up, right, and we move it to places where we want it to go.
No, mine won't.
Well, if it's electronic, right? But do you think, hold on guys, do you think, so this is where you're gonna, Ethan, right? I want you to think real quick, so this doesn't involve opening our mouths. Do you think that Corduroy the teddy bear thinks things like, I think someone else might be here, or I've always wanted to climb a mountain, or I've always wanted a home? So take a moment, think about it. Do you think that teddy bears have those kinds of ideas? Think about it for a moment. Everyone got an idea? Okay, Bailey, I haven't heard from you yet. What do you think? Do you think teddy bears have those kind of ideas? Why not?
Because they don't have a brain.
That's right. What's inside a teddy bear?
Stuff.
Stuff, right?
Fluff.
Stuffing, fluff, right?
Mine.
So I've got one other quick question before we start talking about the spine over here. So Mace, let's see if you can get this. Is this story real? Is it a true thing? Or do you think somebody made up the story?
It's fiction.
Somebody made up the story.
It's
Somebody
fiction.
made up the story. So Messiah, you are actually absolutely right. Who taught you that word?
Miss Graybell.
I
Miss
knew it
Grayville?
I taught him.
Okay, now, show of hands. How many of you have heard the word fiction before? That is so great. So this book is fiction because somebody made up the story. So we're going to look at, hold on, we're going to look at the spine label, right? I'm going to show it to you real quick. What's there? Is that numbers or letters?
Letters.
Letters?
Letter.
Numbers or letters?
Letter.
Is it numbers or letters?
W.
No, they're letters, right? Numbers or letters?
Letter.
Letters, numbers or letters? Letters. Okay, so, right, it's instruction, so I want you to look up here real quick. I'm going to move this stuff. I'm going to draw a spine label. So right now it should be voice level 0, right?
What's it for you?
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Miss I. So you see, I still hear voices, guys. Thank you. So we saw this. We saw E, right? And then F-R-E. So it looks like this. E, F, R. We gotta take it off the I, Nicholas. F, R. Okay, that's what was on the spine. That E stands for everybody, right? Because everyone can read this book.
Everybody.
Everybody. Ooh.
What does W stand for?
I don't know. Right?
W stands
F-R-E.
for watermelon.
F-R-E is the first 3 letters of Don Freeman's last name. So Messiah, if he was an author, it'd be pretty easy for him. You want to know why? How many letters does your last name have?
3.
3.
He
Lee,
told me.
right? L-E-E. So if Messiah Lee wrote this book, it would say E and then capital L-E-E, because that's his last name. But we just used the first 3. So if Ava was the author, it would be A-B-B, because those are the first 3 letters of your last name.
Is that your last name?
My last name is Krueger, so it would be K-R-U, right? Sit on your bottom.
Mine would be Train. B-R-A.
Absolutely. So, hold on, Sarisha, right? Okay, so here's how we can tell, right, if a book is fiction. If it's all letters, it's fiction. And fiction is make-believe, right? Because Maze and Messiah told us that this book is fiction, that it's made up,
I did too.
right? So, if it's letters, right, it's fiction.
No, fiction means real life.
No, fiction means make-believe. Fiction,
Non-fiction means real life.
that's right.
Almost dormant.
Here's how I remembered it. Some people think, right, fiction is make-believe. That was really hard for me. I had to remember it like this. Fiction is fake, right? F and F. Fiction is fake. So that was always mine.
It's so easy.
It is. If that helps you,
Fiction.
then that's beautiful, right? Fiction is fake. It's make-believe. Somebody made up that story. So when we look at our spine labels, right, it's all letters. So there were a couple of people I pointed out, but right now, very carefully, because we're going to handle materials carefully, pull that book out from behind you, right? Your book, so just put it right in front of you. Okay, put your book right in front of you. You got your book? Put it right in front of you. Now I want you to carefully look at it like this. So you're looking at the spine. Okay? I just want you to look at the spine.
Mine says E.
Okay, so we're going to practice this real quick because some of you have different books. So, boys and girls, silently read that spine label to yourself. If, okay, hold on. Right now I'm the one who's speaking, so give me 5, please. Thank you. You guys are doing real well, but I want to give you one instruction. Okay, if, and this is, I want you to give me a thumbs up. If your spine label, down here, this one at the bottom, has all letters, just give me a little thumbs up. Okay, so if you gave me a thumbs up, right? Well, I didn't say that. You're only putting your thumbs up if you have letters. So if you have letters, let me see your book spine real quick. Okay. Ooh, double check that. Is that all letters? Good, good, good. All right. So if it's still all letters, is that all letters? That's a tricky one. Is that all letters? Right? It's a tricky one. Okay. So if yours is completely letters, like May's, I want you to hold it to the front, like this. So you're going to hold it to me like this. That's great, guys. Thank you. Now, I'm going to flip some of theirs around. What's true? What do you notice about these books? Are those photos? Did somebody take them with a camera? Or did somebody draw these? They drew them. That's one way you can tell if a book is fiction. If the front cover is drawn, it's usually fiction. Okay? Now, there were a couple of you who did not have all the letters, right? So let's see what we got. So he's got a really good one. I like Nicholas. He's got, what is this called? Do you remember?
Hammerhead shark.
A hammerhead shark. But look at his. His says 597.3 NUZ. His has letters, or excuse me, numbers.
This is truth, Lord.
This is truth. Now I don't know if Miss McCord wants me to do this right now. However, I'll give you a little hint. If it's numbers, it's non-fiction, right? So I want you to get your nose in that. How many of you had numbers? We had numbers here, here. You had numbers, right? That's right, right? Numbers is non-fiction. Okay, so pause real quick.
I got a true story.
You have a true story, right? If you have a true story, if you have numbers for non-fiction, I want you to hold your book like this towards me. Ooh, okay, so here's a little tricky thing. Hold on, Miss. Hold on to your question, guys. Right, so here's a little difference. Careful with that book, Tanaya. Right? If you have numbers, you're holding it towards me. If not, it's sitting quietly in your lap. Hold on. Okay, now I want you to take a peek. Turn your heads, and I want you to look at Barza's and Rishka's. Rishka's, close your book, please, so they can see your cover. Okay, and then look at the pumpkins that Ethan has and the Coast Guard that Spanel has. All those books have numbers. Okay, but Spanel's and Ethan's have photos. But look at Barza's and Rishka's. Those are different, right? So like I said, usually photos are non-fiction. Pictures are fiction.
Is mine non-fiction?
You tell me, Messiah, what's on your spine label?
599.
So it's numbers for non-fiction.
This is real.
She has numbers, but
It is. Okay, so let's review it one more time, okay? Here we go. So I've got 2 books that I'm going to use as an example. So put your book right behind your back again where it was, so kindly and very carefully.
Mine can't be saved.
3:35.
Okay, so this is the last thing we can do, guys, and then we got to do lineup. So your book is behind your back, right? Now, this one has numbers. This one is all letters. So if it's all letters, right?
Fairy tales are not real.
But if it's all letters, it's fiction. Okay, it's make-believe. Fiction is fake.
sharks are real.
If I have numbers, then it's non-fiction, right? So I want you to do that one time with me before we do line order. Ready? You guys have been doing super well. Ready? We're going to start.
And we're gonna act like
books. Ready? So if I have, do it with me, numbers, then it's nonfiction. That's right. So hold on to your questions real quick because I want to put you in line order. Right, books are behind our backs. Everyone ready to go? Okay, carefully. We want this first row to stand. Thank you.
I'm the line leader.
And we want you to watch out for this whiteboard. We're going to start right here. Okay? Line order.